thoughts. Now, Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari has just spoken in the last few minutes. Let's listen to what he had to say.
In response to months of continuous attacks from the regime in Iran against the state of Israel, right now, the Israel Defense Forces is conducting precise strikes on military targets in Iran. The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil. Like every other sovereign country in the world, the state of Israel has the right and the duty to respond. Our defensive and offensive capabilities are fully mobilized. We will do whatever necessary to defend the state of Israel and the people of Israel.
Well, that was from the Israeli military spokesman, Daniel Hagari. But let's go back to Rasul Sardar, our correspondent who's live for us in Tehran. Rasul, can you talk us through whether there's been any updates since we just last spoke? Obviously, this is a moving story, a very significant one, especially now that Israel has confirmed that it is carrying out those strikes on Iran.
Indeed, as of now, in the capital, we are not hearing any sounds of the explosions. However, shortly before, we have heard at least 3 explosions, most of them taking place in the western part of the capital. And then there are some reports that the explosions were heard in the city of Kashan and also in the city of Mashhad. So these cities, they're having significant, some nuclear facilities and also the military facilities as well. But what we understand so far, that there has not been any explosion in the nuclear facilities, oil and gas reserves. Rather, some of the military targets have came under the Israeli attack. But we do not know about the state of the casualties, whether some soldiers have been killed or they're injured or not. However, there have been the reports of the explosion from these 3 cities. Now we are in Tehran, and we have also heard at least 3 explosions, but there are some reports that there were 3 more explosions in Tehran. So in total, we are talking about 6 explosions. However, here we are understanding from the Israeli spokesperson, the military spokesperson, that they have targeted the military facilities. They have targeted the military bases rather than going to the oil and nuclear gases or the nuclear facility, oil and gas facilities and the nuclear facilities. So that is telling us something, because we have heard of that again and again. Iranians were quite clear that their response is going to be according to the Israeli attack. So that means if Israel attacks to our military bases, we are going to target Israeli military bases. This was the adopted policy, tit for tat. And if Israel attacks the oil and gas reserves or the nuclear facilities, then our response also is going to be hitting Israeli oil and gas reserves and their nuclear facilities. But Americans have been putting a tremendous pressure on Israelis not to target these strategic facilities that could easily lead to an all-out, a full-scale war across the region. It seems that as of now, what we can see, that Israeli response to Iran's attack on October 1st is quite a measured one, well calculated one, and it seems that it is limited with the military targets, not going beyond that, because Tehran itself is holding some of the nuclear facilities, and as of now, when we can see, we're just scanning, we haven't heard that kind of explosions, and the reports that we are receiving, the nuclear facilities are operating normally so far. But we have heard at least 3 explosions in the capital, and there are some other explosions, 3 explosions that are at this moment unconfirmed. As I said, it seems that Israelis have attacked the military targets, but we do not know what is the scale of that exactly at this moment, and whether now it was a one-hit operation and that is over, or whether the second or third, the coming waves are going to come or not. We do not know whether Israelis have concluded their attacks or they have just initiated that. So in the coming hours, we are going to have a clear sense and picture of that. However, in Iran, Iranians are saying that their air defense systems across the country are on the highest alert. And they're saying that it's a multi-layer air defense system. So we are talking about the protection particularly being enhanced across and around these strategic facilities, the oil and gas reserves, the strategic depots that are preserved for the war times, and the nuclear facilities. So they have been protected by Russian S-300 and S-400s, then Khordad third systems, and also they are talking about the Iranian-made Bavar 373 air defense system, which are equivalent to the Russian-made S-300s. And on the top of that, Iranians are saying that several dozens and dozens of the aircrafts are now scanning the Iranian airspace. And now the Iranian army is at the highest level of the readiness. If the scale of the Israeli attacks is quite big and huge, then Iranians are saying that they are going to respond to these with the same magnitude.